Hello, everyone. It is Pal Ponder on Weather coming to you with another video. But first, I wanted to introduce myself. So you might be asking yourself, who is Pal? My name is Roy Ponder. I'm from Texas, hence the name Pal Ponder on Weather. Excuse the sunburn. Hence, we're going to be talking about a heat wave. But I became fascinated with the weather when Hurricane Alicia went over my house back in '83 when I was 8 years old as a child. I kind of found myself watching the weather on the news. I watched all four stations. I was pretty obsessed with it. And then, about 2 years ago, I created my own Facebook page on Facebook, Pal Ponder on Weather, so you can check me out there. I'm a big analog guy. I'm a big numbers guy. I have a photographic memory, so I tend to go back and match up, past analog years to what's going to happen now. So, like I said, I'm a big stats guy too. So I took a lot of stats as well. So, and about 2 weeks ago, I decided to expand my platform because originally I'm living in Dallas. I forecasted for Dallas as well as Texas, but I wanted to expand my reach. So I created the YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago to forecast for the entire United States and also expand internationally as well as the tropics. So let's kind of delve right into it. I wanted to kind of take you back and where we were and where we came from January 1. Technically, this year, we've been below normal for much of the United States, with an exception of the Southeast, where the winter lasted a lot longer than normal this year. We're still below normal technically from January 1st all the way to date. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we're 1 to 2 degrees below normal. Much of the midsection of the country is 2 to 3, 4 degrees below normal. And you start where they had the snowpack extended a lot longer this year, or 4 to 6 degrees below normal in the upper Midwest. It's still below normal out in California, but the areas that really didn't have a winter in the Southeast, you guys were above normal for this time of year, and a little bit of a pocket of below normal in the Northeast. So if we take where we are now from August 1st to date, you can see the areas that it's kind of flipping. We're in that transitional period where we have the El Nino that was started on February the 14th. It's now over as of August the 8th, and now we're transitioning to what's called an enso neutral pattern, or we tend to kind of dry out. So we're seeing some above normal temperatures in California and Texas, much of the Northwest, Wyoming, and it doesn't get until below normal temperatures where you've seen a lot of the rainfall in the central part of the U.S. I know today alone, Little Rock hit a daily record of 3.78 inches. In fact, it was the fourth wettest day in August history. So they had a pretty extreme amount of rainfall for August standards. And like I said, we're still clinging on to below normal temperatures in Florida as well as Texas, but we're going to lose that shortly. As you can kind of tell, this heat wave is really expanded. They call it the death ridge here in Texas. So it sounds pretty extreme, and that's what it's going to be. We haven't really had those, pretty extreme heats lately, but we've had 4 days over 100. We average 18 in Dallas here. But we're going to make up ground over the next week or two. But it's going to be hitting about 103 tomorrow in Dallas, and we're going to be pushing into the 90s, and the Southeast states as well as the desert Southwest is over the 100 degrees, and much of the 80s and even some 70s creeping in the Northeast. But if we take it off to Tuesday, that heat ridge is just going to expand and it'll kind of elongate itself. And that's what we call maximum heating day on Tuesday. So much of you guys are going to, sometimes before a cool front on Wednesday, you get what they call compressional heating. So we might have that little bit bump up in temperature. So we might even hit 105 here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on Tuesday as we max out. And again, much of the areas that we're kind of drying out where they have the extreme amount of rainfall, your heat indexes are going to soar, as we can kind of tell in the next video. The next slide, that we're talking extreme levels, 110 plus. Those are excessive heat warnings. That is dangerous out there, guys. So you have to pay attention to this. With all the heavy rainfall that they've had, um, especially Little Rock, you guys are already going to be under the gun coming up on Monday and Tuesday with excessive heat warnings in your part of the area. But much of the South in Texas, the Southeast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, you're going to be seeing the 1.5s, 1.10s, even some 1.15 dew points. But this is the European model. This is one I kind of favor in this heat wave. And I'll show the GFS here in a little bit. But here it is on Thursday after the cool front. So it drops down to maybe 96 in Dallas. And much of the areas that where you were experiencing the hundreds in the Southeast are going to be going down in the low 90s, even some 80s coming up in, like I said, upper like in Chicago area, some 70s as you creep into Des Moines, Iowa, Minneapolis, areas like that, where you're going to be seeing some 70s. But as we expanded this ridge, like I said, will elongate over time, and will kind of creep back up. So that cool down is won't last long. It might last maybe 3 days, if that. If you're even going to see a difference. But like I said, if we kind of expand this out till Tuesday, you'll this is Tuesday of next week. You'll see the heat ridge building back up in Texas. And like I said, if we expand this out even further than that, it's going to elongate and kind of extend out into the northeast and eastern areas. So let's go to the GFS now. This is like I said, the GFS. It had an upgrade a couple weeks ago. I think it maybe still needs some work. It's still a little higher than what I'm thinking the temperature going to be, but it's thinking, like I said, 103 tomorrow in the Dallas area, some 90s, creeping up to the mid 90s in the southeast around Savannah, Georgia. So if we flip it on to Tuesday, again maxing out 105, 106 area and the Dallas Fort Worth area. Creeping up to 100, like I said, those heat indexes, that's the day that you really have to watch out for of a widespread area of extreme heat with those excessive heat warnings in the southeast. Again, after we flip it back in after Thursday, it's really not seeing the cool front like the European has. All right. Well, it's seeing it, but it's not creeping it as far south. It's only thinking it's going to hit maybe the Arkansas area, and it's not going to creep into Texas. So it's still thinking it's going to be 100 degrees in the Texas areas on Thursday. The European has about 5 degrees cooler, as we saw earlier. But if we extend it back even into Saturday again, we have that ridge building back in, and that heat kind of takes footing again and deepens, and we'll again try to expand into the area as we go into the following Tuesday. So this is over like a 10-day span. And this is some of the anomalies as far as precipitation over the next 10 days. And you can see we had that daily record in Little Rock of 3.78 inches today, fourth wettest August on record. And that's going to give you those extreme heat warnings in your area. But we've got potentially some extra moisture down in the southeast by the Gulf. Kind of a sea breeze, you'll see, but not much in Texas. Bone dry in Texas. We might get a little bit of on Wednesday, but that's about a 30% chance. So it's just really not to speak of. It's August. What can you say? But some elevated levels around in the Iowa area, Minneapolis, across the Chicago area, and we'll touch on the tropics a little bit. Like I said, we've only had 2 named storms. I'm not really expecting anything for the next 5 days, but we don't have a storm from July 15th to August 15th. There's only been happened twice in the last 20 years, and the last 2 times was 1999 and 2015. And both of those years actually ended up about average or a little bit above average with 11 and 12 storms in 2015. So with the Enzo pattern taking hold on August the 8th, with the MJO going in a favorable phase by the end of August, we might be looking at about a 6 to 8 week period where we have above average or kind of an elevated time frame of the tropics, hurricane, tropical storms, hurricane potential. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Stay cool, you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you saw value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And then I'll catch you in the next video where I'll protect you before and after the storm.